Fear, despair, and anxiety. These are just a few of the emotions I must contend with on a daily basis, performing even the most mundane of tasks and interactions. I am incapable of paying an exact change for fear that I will be short even a few cents. I'm unable to leave the house without my wallet in hand for fear that I will leave it behind and be confronted without my trolley pass. I fear driving anywhere with under a quarter of a tank of gas, because what happens when I run out in the middle of an intersection and I am forced to push my car in front of hundreds of wandering eyes? While these problems may serve as mere annoyances or inconveniences to some, or perhaps a bit more to others, these are some of my worst fears I contend with daily, compounded on top of the interactions which come when I pay with more than the necessary amount of cash and show my pass to the transit cops. I live in a constant state of anxiety, for I am forced countless times a day to interact with family, peers, and random people. I suffer from social anxiety. While not debilitating as most disorders, it is emotionally crippling to myself and requires a constant squelching of fear to go about my day as a college student. The commute via public transportation requires more than a desired number of human interactions, whether it pertain to seating, admittance to the trolley or bus, and even getting off. I am incapable of arriving in class late for fear of walking amongst seated, peering eyes, wondering what disturbance has come about them, forcing me to leave earlier than necessary for my commute. I cannot search out partners for projects allowing use of them, for fear of interaction which must ensue. I am often forced to work twice as hard as others just to accomplish the same tasks which they were able to delegate. And when forced into partnership, I am often outcast for my inability to be outspoken, contributing only as much as necessary for the sake of the project, and little of what I am truly capable of doing. Needless to say, school is constant torture, not necessarily of the body, but of the mind, albeit chills and heart palpitations are sometimes physical manifestations of my disorder. My grades have suffered. I would rather take a C than endure the self-perceived embarrassment and discomfort of asking fellow classmates, TAs, and even professors for assistance. My education has fallen into a much lesser degree than my peers who lean unencumbered by social inhibitances. But what am I to do but endure the constant dull torture and grimace, letting those around me flourish while I flounder? New media and the option of anonymity is how I am able to maintain sanity in a world which unintentionally seeks to drive me insane. Nearly anything can be done via the internet these days. To the dismay of many, nearly all human-to-human interactions may be taken care of virtually. The binary language and its interpretation by a machine has become my saving grace. Through utilization of peripherals such as a keyboard, I am able to interact with the world behind a veil of anonymity. Which I may have had friends in all preparatory schools before ucsd, I was still able, under the debilitating disorder of social anxiety, plowing along because it was mandated by the state. Through the use of social media sites such as Facebook and MySpace, I am able to, at my whim, interact with fellows from school, both past and present. While I do not necessarily make it a habit, nor take full advantage, it is a perk afforded to me by the workings of the internet and the new media revolution, and I appreciate it beyond measure. I can even supersede the fact of conversing with family in person. Yes, even familial interactions cause discomfort, and not for the same reasons others may feel. I can wish my aunt a happy birthday via the wall attachment, as opposed to driving over with a card. While I harbor no ill will towards my family, I am unable to compartmentalize any disorder, so that as to may hide behind it when it suits me. It is an equal opportunity discomfort causer. Social interactions are not necessarily the main drawbacks of my disorder. Common forced interchanges are. Buying food, cashing checks, conversing academically are more in the realm of my constant despair inducers. But the internet solves many of these issues. Online banking and shopping removes worries I constantly harbor of lacking the change. I no longer have to count the cash in my wallet over and over to verify that the contents are lacking. I can email professors and partners, albeit not always to my benefit, for it is not readily easy to type out equations or object code. However, I am able to interact in such ways. I recall in Culture, Art, and Technology 1, my freshman year, the professor Peter John denounced technology, new media, as a debilitating entity which is removing the populace of necessary human interaction, with a particular distaste for headphones as an object which remove us completely from those around us. While such an argument may be true, and a great deal of people may interact uninhibited by a constant displeasure and anxiety when interacting socially, what about those who cannot? Why renounce avant-garde innovations in technology merely because they countermand an age-old thought that people need to interact with other people? If I were forced to live in such an outdated concept, I would not be able to stumble through college. I would be stuck in a basement, unable to step into the light for fear of talking to someone. I bless the coming of such innovations, for they give me life.